I think most players should be rolling twice as often as they are right now. If you're never rolling above 4-2 or you're above 50 gold, that's an indicator that you may not actually know why you're rolling when. To amend this, I want to explain the one concept that helped me the most that will kind of change the way you see the game. To help with that, I want to show off this graph. This graph is what we're going to use for 2 examples today. And this graph is great because not only does it visualize how I and other challengers think of the game, but it can be used for any comp. And I can explain that with the first one, which is Kog'Maw reroll. This is basically going over any level 6 comp. So when you see this board, just by rolling, how can you make this board better? The only way is getting 3 stars, right? We're going to be stuck on level 6, so we don't have an empty unit slot, and we're not going to be hitting 5 cost. So the only way to get this board stronger is to hit our 3 stars, 3-star Nunu, or sorry, Rumble, 3-star Nunu and Rumble, Kog'Maw, Trist. And that's going to take a long time. Keyword long time. This board right here is the biggest spike you have in the entire game, and it's the most important one. I'm going to go over how a challenger might play Kog'Maw, your average game. Before that, I'm going to explain this board real quick. So, board strength is here, and this is time. This is tempo, basically means how strong the lobby is. So as you can see, tempo scales linearly with board strength. So as time goes on, boards will be stronger. If we plug this comp in here, we can see the flow of the game. So let's go yellow for challenger, I guess. Most players will be playing loose streak Kog'Maw, and they roll down at 3-2. So they're losing, the board is weak, and at 3-2 it spikes hard. Why does it spike so hard? Because challenger players will roll almost to 10 gold, sometimes even 0, for this board right here. Then they're going to sit. This point right here is the most vital spot. This is when they have 2-star everything. If they don't have 2-star everything, they have at least 2-star Kog'Maw and good frontline. The reason is, no matter who you are, you have to stick on this board for a really long time. Remember, until we hit our 3 stars, we're stuck on this board. So they're going to wait, and then they're going to spike again. They're going to hit it's a bit too far for spike. Let's say they hit a 2-star Nunu, and then hit the 2-star Kog'Maw. That's their big spike right here. That spikes the board a lot. And then they wait again, and then if they're really lucky, they could play towards 3 Arcana with Xerath, and then the board will cap out really high, and they have a chance of playing for top 2. Most times though, like this spike doesn't happen, and they're going to roll to 0 every turn for a combat charm, and then bleed out to a top 4. Just to recap, this spike, the first one, is our biggest spike. We hit our 2-star everything, or for the most part, what's important, Kog'Maw and frontline. And then you probably, along the road, you're finally hitting your first 3-star, and then you're finally hitting your 3-star Cog. That's your second biggest spike, for the most part. And then you're going to bleed out as usual and try to push this tempo until people catch up to you, the rest of the lobby, and bleed out to a top 4. But this is how you should be playing the game for Kog'Maw. This is a very optimized flow, and you can see that either we're following the line or we're above it. Very rarely do we dip far below the line. And this will become a lot more clear once you see how an average non-challenger plays. So using orange, I'm going to kind of indicate how a regular player might play. Something I see a lot when I coach is that stage 2, it's not optimized. That's not a huge deal. It's they're probably not open selling their board or not trying to make 50 as soon as possible. Maybe they had a Kog'Maw opener. Either way, they get to this spike here. This represents 3-2. I guess it should be the same time as when they start spiking, right? So like right here. And they stop rolling. Let's say they have like 1-star Cog. They have a lot of pairs on the bench as well. And they're so close to spiking. They just need 1 Cog, they just need 1 Blitz. But they just stop. Because they don't want to go under 50 for some reason. That's like drilled into their head. And I understand why, because when you first start out, you're watching guides that say stay above 50. But this is when you start breaking that mold. If you want to get better, you got to start learning new things. Time goes on, and they roll above 50. Eventually, that's a weird line, they hit their big spike, which is their Kog'Maw. Right? So they get to this point. Their 2-star spike. The board that the challenger player has been sitting on for, who knows, 5 rounds already. Notice the tempo of the lobby. The challenger player is sitting comfortably for about entire stage. All of stage 3, I'd say. maybe into a bit of stage 4, because we know how strong Kog'Maw is. This flat line means that they're not using any resources. They're not going under 50 gold, and they're chilling. Anytime you're above this line, you're basically chilling. You don't have to roll really. You're in no rush to spike your board. You're the strongest in the lobby, so you're beating all your boards. That means that you have more time to accumulate gold, a longer streak. The longer you're up here, the longer your streak, and that means more gold. The player who hits it late still has to stay here for the longest amount of time, or the same amount of time, but look how the same duration is in a different part underneath the tempo line. Right here is when they start falling off. The challenger player will fall off at the same time, but they've been stronger for longer. So look how short that is. And then the same spikes happen, but let's say the exact same spikes happen at the same time, but the below challenger player is every spike that happens is still below the lobby level, right? It's below tempo. So that's how you can end up with this exact same board, 3-star everything, combat augments, but still bot 4 because you were just behind tempo the entire time. It doesn't matter you hit everything because by the time you hit it, everyone else is already stronger. A 2-cost reroll board can only cap out so high. This is basically a ceiling until you can hit your Xerath and stuff, but you're not going to be able to hit that. But if you're the challenger player, you have that extra time because you've lost less HP because you've always been above tempo. You have that HP cushion, and now you can actually have a chance of hitting Xerath, while this one is doomed from the start. Maybe a top 4 if you're lucky. Earlier elo lobbies are usually a bit weaker, so you probably have a much lower tempo. But as you climb in ranks, this tempo line here, let me explain. It's useless, right? Lower elos are going to be like this. So even if you make a lot of mistakes with tempo, you're going to be above the tempo line. Again, the tempo line is representing the strength of the lobby. The average lobby strength in earlier elos is very slow. And as you climb higher, it's going to reach more of an incline. For me, it perfectly encapsulates what I see in my head. My only worry is that it's one of those things where it makes sense to me, but it doesn't make sense to other people. So that's basically how to roll for, or why you should be rolling for 2 costs and hitting this board as soon as possible. Let's use the exact same example with a 4-cost flex board. So we're not re-rolling anymore, and we're playing around 4-cost flex. 4-cost flex has a slightly different tempo, but it's pretty much the same. It's not as severe, but if we plug this comp in to this graph, you will see a similar pattern. The first similarity is that this is another board where you're kind of stuck on level 8. Stuck on is a weird word to say because this board is like very strong. In higher elos, this board will sometimes bot 4 a lot because this is like the regular board and people are capping out higher, right? What if all 4 people have a board this strong, right? You need to go level 9 to cap out. That's the problem. To make this board any bit stronger, you need to have a lot of resources. And to have a lot of resources, you have to accumulate them by sitting on this board. I think you guys can pretty much guess where this is going. Use an example of a guy who 10 streaked, right? He played this comp for a win streak. Strong board, stronger than everyone. It's going to curve a bit here because it's not that your board is actually getting weaker, but people are catching up, so it's curving. And then let's say this is 4-2, right? Little dot here. I'm going to little 4-2, and then it's going to spike like this hard because this is when you roll down all your gold. At a certain point, you're going to stop rolling. You might have you might have a bunch of 4-cost pairs on your bench, and then you finally hit them. But for the most part, it's going to be like this, right? You're going to be sitting on level 8 board because, oops, that's the old one. Because after this, you technically can, roll to make your board stronger, but how much is that going to really affect your board? Gold versus upgrade potential, right? What I mean by that is you could probably get lucky and hit a single 5-cost that can upgrade your board. But what does Morg fit over here, right? It doesn't fit over Katarina because you lose 4 warriors. You would need another unit to drop with Katarina and a Kali to play with Morg. Maybe you can play Emilio, but that's 2 5-costs. The odds of you hitting this on 8 are very high, both of these specifically. Your best bet is to sit on that board and wait till you have enough money to go 9. So you're going to go 9, it's going to be maybe, it costs you like 30, 20 gold, and then you're going to have to roll for a 5-cost, right? A 2-star 5-cost is 15 gold, 2 of them is 30 gold. Obviously, Emilio's not a 5-cost you really want 2-starred, but let's say we are trying to find like these guys, right? So we can replace Nico for Briar and then play Morgana and then throw in, I guess, a 4th Preserver. Keep it simple. Throw in that Zillion. This upgrade, we have a level 9 as well. I guess we can throw in a Kench. Can't go wrong with the Kench, 2-star Kench. Right, this upgrade by itself, even if we don't upgrade Briar and Morgana, which, because they don't really need to be upgraded that badly, it's going to be 12 gold here, 10 gold from these 5 costs, and then 2 gold here, right? So what's that? 22 gold, 24 gold, just to get this spike. So obviously that's a lot of gold. And to hit the 5 cost, you have to be at level 9 as well. I wish I had a better, let's just use, instead of that, let's use Xerath as example, because that makes more sense, right? Because Zillion's not really a 2 cost. You have to wait for a level 9 for. To get an actual significant upgrade, you have to sack a couple rounds like we see here, right? This is the board that we were showing, that level 8 board, and then this is, to hit that next spike, we have to wait this long. So depending on your spot, you might fall behind tempo a bit. Again, this like varies widely from every game, right? This line can be all sorts, but this is just one example. And then we probably win out from the spot, right? Because we spike and then we spike again, and then basically we're using that tempo to keep pushing, because we were never falling behind under the line, right? So that means that we don't have to roll as often as everyone else, and we have more chances to roll at higher levels. While everyone's rolling at 6, 7, 8, we're rolling at 7, 8, 9. And then we're using that tempo to push tempo, and then try to win out. That's how the ideal 4-cost flex game goes. Let's say something else happens, right? Let's say we have a different scenario. So let's say we play the same line, but we lost streak. So basically our board is nothing for a while. We spike a bit. Let's say we have to roll at 7, a 3, 5. We're chilling. 4-2 comes along, and we have to spike again. We're at the same place as this guy, basically. And we're waiting to go 9, right? We basically follow the exact same route as the other guy. Roll at 7, roll at 8, chill, and then go 9. The only difference is that in this spot where we're chilling, we're waiting, right? This is where we stabilize off. We're 30 HP. Because we lost streaked early. And we lost a lot of HP to get to that point. This guy, the guy we're talking about, the Giga Chad here, who win streaked everything, is in the same place we are with 100 HP, because he hasn't lost a single fight. If let's say he lost one fight, like 90 HP, right? Something above 80. He has that cushion right there. Even if he loses a couple rounds, at most he's going to be like 40 HP, 50 HP at the worst. For this dude, unfortunately, he's got like 3 lives max. So if he loses like, depending on how long he has to stay on this level, if he loses like 3, he's dead. He's a bot 4. Most times, what's going to happen is that you're going to be 10 HP and then going level 9. You're probably going to, a very high chance of losing randomly to a guy who capped out higher, who got to level 9 first. This happens a lot right now in the reroll meta. We're making this video in patch 14.16b, 2-cost meta with Kog'Maw, Ari, Nyla. Next patch, some 2-costs are getting nerfed, so we'll see about that. But this is why it's really hard to play 4-cost flex from an open 4 or lost streak start. While a 4-cost flex like Callista, Fiora, Karma, Olaf, whatever, is really good from a win streak. Because you have to go level 9 to top 4 in this current patch. For 4-cost at least, because you have to beat out the 2-cost high rollers. Hopefully those 2 examples gave a really good idea of how to play around tempo and when to roll for each comp. If I were to sum up everything I've talked about here, I'd say 1, understand your spikes, right? This board spikes here, roll down hard. You don't have to use money for a really long time after you hit this board. And you also don't have to use HP because you're winning. Level 8's a bit more different, as you can see, where you have more steps, right? This is a extreme example of high win streak, and this is an example of a full loss. But a better orange, I guess we can use orange, example is that it's going to be more like this, right? Like, so make these lines as long as possible, because these lines are points where you're not rolling, your board's not being upgraded, and it's when you're above a lobby. Go up as high as you can, and then stop. Go up high as you can and stop. If there was like a world where like you could do this every round, where you get super strong early and then you get you don't have to do anything for a really long time, I would take it every time. And there actually is an augment, right? It's called At What Cost, I think, which does exactly what this is illustrating, right? You're basically going straight to level 6. You're stronger than everyone for so long, and because you don't have to do anything for so long, you're also making all that money, and you have that win streak, and you're doing another jump, and you're going straight to 9. I think the next step is to kind of teach you how to play the boards. That will leave you so far in front of the line that it takes a really long time for it to catch up. And that will probably be my next video. Basically, these are pretty easy, these exact boards you need to roll on, but level 8 is a bit more complex, right? There's a lot of different variables, different types of boards. and then more steps means just more complications. So I'm gonna do that, and I'm going to make a video also on tempo, basically what tempo is, the exact definition. I think I've heard tempo used in like every different way, oftentimes misused. Hopefully this helped you, and if you guys want more videos like this, I'll be making a lot more this set and next set. So follow, subscribe, the usual. I'm on Twitch sometimes. Mostly I'm active on YouTube and TikTok. If you like short form content, check that out. If you guys want free coaching, I'm available like every week on Saturday. I do like something basically like this, but more like freehand in a Discord call. Just no like prerequisites. Just hop in, mute yourself, or just like talk if you want. And yeah, private coaching, that's more of a paid option because I don't have time to like spend like 6 hours a day helping everyone. So I apologize. I got to pay rent and eat some food. So that's going to be, it's also in Discord. The VOD review prices are the same, but I did increase some of the prices for my live games because those take a really long time for me. And because it is tournament season, I don't have that time to spare anymore. So the prices will fluctuate just based on how much I value my time during that season. And yeah, that's everything. See you guys.